off my chair, and I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs. Time's to the left of me, Joker's to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Yes, I'm stuck in the middle with you. Greetings, programs. Today we're doing a little short mission to drop off a book that I just finished reading at the Beaverton City Library. That book is Words of Radiance. It is an absolutely wonderful book. I'm really enjoying Brandon Sanderson's work. He is the author of the Stormlight Archive, the Mistborn trilogy. He's done a bunch of other stuff. He finished Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time saga when Robert Jordan unfortunately died before he could complete it. So just gonna pop in at the item return here and drop that off, and then get on the road to our actual trip for the day. There it is. And there it goes. Easy peasy. And now off to the thing we're actually up to today, which is talking about rookie mistakes. I have already dropped Lydia on both sides, so we're going to be looking at the two times that I've knocked her over, once to the right, once to the left, and I'm going to get going on the road here, head over to where the first one happened, and we will talk when we get there. Oh, it's so hot out here. What am I doing wearing a full suit in 95-degree heat? I'll tell you what I'm doing wearing a full suit at this heat. All the gear, all the time. I have 2 kids. I have a wife who loves me. I have obligations. I have family. I have friends. I have, I have more going on in my life than I can afford to lose on me being an idiot and getting myself killed in a car wreck. So, yeah, that's me. But still, fucking hot. Well, here we are. So this is it, the site of my first glorious entrance into motorcycle riding as an adult. This is where I dropped my bike for the first time. And it is so damn hot that I'm actually going to take my helmet off, and I'm going to have a little bit of a talk about what happened here with my helmet off, and I'll talk directly to the camera. Give me a second. That's better. Okay, so here's what happened. Let's turn Lydia off. And let's go for a walk. So, this lovely little roundabout is where I dropped my bike. Now what happened? Just over there is the dealership where I bought my bike, and right as soon as I finished the purchase they said, hey, so here, take the key, why don't you go for a little spin, make sure you're happy, if you're not happy, come back, we'll see what we can do. If you decide this wasn't the right bike for you, come back around and we'll take a look at it. And this was a mistake. First of all, it was kind of not the best weather that day, and my salesman said the weather is not ideal, there's a little water on the road, and they're new tires. So you got to be real careful that you don't slip going around any corners. So I left from the dealership and went out onto the main road. That's the Washington County Fairground right there. So I came over to that road, turned in, and I got to this roundabout. And I thought, well, I'll go around the roundabout and make a circle back. I figured no big deal, right? And so I go ahead and pull around the roundabout. Starting from over there, I started around here. And as I came around to about the first quarter turn, there was this gold luxury sedan edging out right about here. And I realized that they were ahead of me, and then I catch the eye of this older guy in his 50s, and he looks at me and decides, seems as though he decides, I'm not going to wait for him. And he does not wait for the motorcyclist, and he pulls right out. Now, for anyone who's been an experienced rider, I'm sure, and even myself, I'm 1,000 miles into riding, I can handle slowing down a little bit and keep my cornering, and it would have been fine. But I was on mile 1. I was on my first mile riding. There was no way I was going to be able to handle slowing down and not hitting him on my way around this corner. So I am angling around, worried about the wet weather conditions, worried about this guy ahead of me. I don't want to plow into the back of him, so I slow down and I screw up my own line. And what I ended up doing was losing my angle, and I target fixed right about here. Shit, this might even be a mark from my... Oh yeah, this is probably the mark left by my bike. So anyway, I totally screwed up my corner, and I managed to straighten out right about here-ish. And when my tires hit the curb, they started to chew against the curb and all the frictions on that side, so it just pulled me right over, and the whole right side of Lydia got scraped along the curb. Frame sliders would have done me no good. They wouldn't have been any good against, being on a raised edge like that. And I even had time to yell, "Oh no!" like an idiot. Oh no, this can't be happening to me! But it did. And so I just kind of tumbled over and almost eased her over onto her side. And so she's damaged. I'll show you in a second. We'll walk back over. And she fell over. Of course, the guy that was out ahead of me, he doesn't wait. He doesn't care at all that this just happened. He just takes off. Next thing I know, a bus comes pulling out of the park and ride right here. And two ladies kind of lean out of it at me, and they're like, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm okay. Just angry at myself." "Do you need help standing that bike up?" "No, I got it." "Well, we don't believe you." Okay. So, I did it right. I leaned back against her and lifted her up, and they're like, "Oh, okay." Started brushing dirt off of her. So, once I got her stood up, I came back over. Next place I could head was right over here. So, I actually stopped her right here and parked her facing the other way in the middle. So what happened? It was on the right side. This happened. Oh. Well, there we go. So, scuffing, lots of scuffing, crack right here. The crack was actually originally split open, and I actually was able to ease it back closed and pop it flat. Scuffed, little bit there on the cap, and then scratching. Yeah. So I'm an idiot. I knocked my bike over, mile 1, first time riding. Yay. Of course, I took her back around. As soon as I could get her to start again, I had to turn the engine off, turn it back on again. Then it would start. Straight up that road takes you right back to the dealership. So basically, I just pulled back around into the parking lot, stalked inside like a bristling cat, and said, "Oh, you won't believe it." And they believed it. Salesman says that, they don't tell stories about customers that have boneheaded mistakes, but no, I'm pretty sure they do, because why wouldn't they? So, I became a statistic, mile 1. Now, the bright side is, ever since that happened, it's not like I'm worried about dropping her again. Hey, got that out of the way. She'll never be perfect again, so I'm not constantly fretting about whether she's going to fall over. And she's a daily rider. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I can't just not ride her because I might scuff her. So, since I ride her pretty much all the time nowadays, I just got to get used to the idea that she's going to take some damage. Now, I have some ideas. I think I might actually eventually go ahead and get like a Plastidip layer over all of the shiny black. Tape off the Ninja logo so it stays there, and then blackout with a matte black, the entire thing, all the way down. We'll see. I'm not there yet. I figure I'm only 1,000 miles into riding, no rush. But that's story number 1. I'm gonna mount back up and, well, it may not even be worth bothering to go to site number 2. In fact, let's skip it. It's an extra like 15 miles off into, you know, the other end of Hillsboro to go find the gas station where it happened. So here's story number 2. I'll just, I'm gonna pause video. I'll turn the bike around so that the light's facing the left side, and then I'll talk about what happened on the other side. So when you go to get gas, you know to put your kickstand down. You know how important it is. It's vital. You gotta put that kickstand down. You gotta make sure it's all the way forward, right? Yeah, I learned the hard way. So story number 2 is, I had just finished this lovely little duo ride with a guy named Kevin. Kevin, hi, if you're watching. And we had been out into the countryside, took a road that took us back up through Hillsboro, and my light starts blinking for gas when we get to the tail end of this. And he's about to get back on the freeway and go home. And we decided to pull into a gas station. He says he'll hang out while I get gas, and then, you know, we'll both get on the freeway and go. So I realize my wallet is inside my gear. It's inside my overpants, and I have to dig in there to get it. So I go to hop off my bike, and my kickstand either rolls backwards or was never settled all the way forward, or I pushed the bike as I was getting off. Who the hell knows? And left side damage is less egregious, but it did layer all the way over. So we've got this scratching all over here, and then we got this. Now this kickstand, or sorry, the kickstand, the shifter is usually a straight line here, and it comes out and then has you know, sticks out. Well, when it bent in like that, I could not tell what the original position was. So fortunately, the guy at the gas station, this really awesome guy working there, happens to have a hammer in the back of his vehicle. So he lets me borrow his hammer, and I start tapping the end of this and just ever so slightly working it outward until it can make clearance on the rod there, because I need to ride it home. I cannot leave my bike sitting at this gas station and still get home. I could have gone 2 up with Kevin if he would have given me a ride, but I'd still be stuck with a bike back there and no way to get it and no way to fix it. So I tapped it until eventually I worked it back out to a rideable position. Kevin stuck with me the entire ride back to my house. Awesome guy, thank you. You are so cool for doing that. Fortunately, I didn't need anything in that time, but yeah, that got me back home. And then once I had it at home, I eventually looked at the diagram of what the part's supposed to look like and realized where the bend had actually occurred. So I actually, oddly enough, I'm pretty happy with how my shifter works now. So if I can get an angle on this, I will show you. Now my foot has an easier time slipping around it to shift up and down for traffic. And before I had to like kink my foot way out in order to avoid clipping it. So I'm actually pretty happy with that as a kind of an unintentional mod for my shifter pedal. So that's the damage that I've done to my bike. Those are my rookie mistakes. Tell me yours. You know, what have you done to your bike? How'd you knock it over? How'd you, run it into things or whatever you've done? Tell me your stories. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm gonna get going now. It is so hot out here. I cannot wait to get home into my air-conditioned house and see my kids. So, thanks for watching. Bye-bye. I tell you, it is a good thing I am used to wearing armor in sweltering summer heat. Armor? What's he talking about? I will tell you in another video.